Andrew ended the film there with thoughts on foreign policy, particularly on the war in Iraq and the relations with the US. What's UKIP's policy on Iraq?
We were opposed to the invasion of Iraq. We don't like interventionist wars that clearly are not in the national interest. But what I don't want to happen is, because we've fallen out with our European partners over Iraq, for us to accept now that Javier Solana should become the foreign policy chief for the whole European Union. So I don't want us to be in hock in terms of foreign policy to America or the European Union. I want us to be independent.
So what would you do with Iraq now, the situation as it is?
Well, I honestly think that our continued presence there is making things worse rather than better, and I think the sooner, the swifter we can get our troops out of there, the better.
So you would cut and run?
I think we've got to.
I thought history would have taught us something. We already got 9,000 troops in Afghanistan, another 500. The Russians had 250,000. And after 10 years, 10,000 were dead and 30,000 were injured, and they still... Then nothing happened about Afghanistan.
And your view is what, as a result?
My view, I think we should pull back and get our troops back.
Right. Nigel Farage.
Isn't it amazing that the government announces there are 500 more troops to go to Afghanistan at the very same day that they announce that they're going to slash the training that we give Britain's brilliant and great value for money territorial army? I just can't believe it. I mean, we couldn't, Alan, we couldn't have fought the Iraq war without the territorial army, thousands of whom took part in it. But that sums up this government. You ask for more and more and more of our servicemen, whilst you give them less and less and less. And when I listen to General McChrystal saying we need 40,000 more, provided we have more people, we can do it, it all to me begins to have shades of Vietnam, frankly, where the argument there was if we bombed more heavily, or say we, the Americans, if we bombed more heavily and put more people in, we'd win. In the end, we didn't. If you're killing the Taliban in Afghanistan, well, that's fine, but there are training camps over the border in Pakistan. I think we're involved in something, and I agree with the gentleman. History shows the Russians, the British have all failed dismally in Afghanistan, and I think we need to go to the Americans. Gordon Brown needs to go to the Americans and say, look, this isn't working. Let's have a short, sharp timetable for withdrawal.
We've got to fight the war much more effectively, and I completely agree with everyone who says let's equip the troops properly and let's not send troops ill-equipped, because that's just monstrous to do that kind of thing to brave people. But there is a purpose behind this war, and I hope people in this country can remember that.
I mean, OK, I understand the argument, but would you then advocate we fight them in Pakistan or fight them wherever else they are in the world? I mean, are we engaged in a war against Islam here? Is that what we're talking about? What is this? Well, what is this?
Joan Bakewell.
I think this is a war that cannot be won.